Have you ever tried to go about your day, brushing your teeth, pouring your coffee, minding your own energy, when suddenly there they are again, that person, the one, your twin flame, not physically beside you, not calling or texting, not even in your social media DMs, but there, in your thoughts, in your body, in your dreams, always present, always humming in the background like a song you can't quite turn off. If you're here, chances are, you're not new to this feeling. Maybe you've asked yourself, why does my twin flame never leave my head? Why do they show up in my thoughts when I'm not even trying to think of them? Is this connection real, or am I just losing my mind? The truth is, you're not crazy, you're not obsessed, you're not weak, and no, you haven't made them up. What you're experiencing is part of something much deeper, more powerful, and more ancient than most of us were ever taught to understand. You are feeling the presence of twin flame energy, a frequency, a soul signature, a divine echo that keeps calling you inward, back to yourself through the reflection of them. This video isn't about trying to stop the thoughts. It's not about cutting cords or getting over it or pretending this connection doesn't exist. It's about understanding it. Because once we understand something, it stops feeling like a haunting and starts to feel like a message, like medicine, like meaning. This video was made for the sleepless dreamers, the overthinkers, the spiritual warriors who wake up feeling someone else's energy in their chest and wonder, was that even my dream? It's for those who can't explain why they're thinking of someone at 2:22 a.m., only to find out days later that person was going through something heavy at that exact time. This is for you, the ones who've tried to move on but find their soul circling the same orbit again and again. And I want you to know something up front. You are not stuck. You are connected, energetically, spiritually, and cosmically. And what you're experiencing is a part of your awakening, not a punishment. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive deep into this question: why does my twin flame never leave my head? We'll explore what twin flame energy really is, why this connection feels like a spiritual magnet, the mysterious psychic threads that keep you feeling them, and most importantly, how to live with this energy in a way that empowers rather than drains you. This won't be a lecture, this is a remembrance, a soul-to-soul conversation. Because chances are, your mind already knows part of the answer, your body feels the rest. And your spirit, it's just been waiting for the moment you say, I'm ready to understand this. Before we begin, let me say this. The fact that you're here, curious, open, searching, already tells me something profound about you. You're not just chasing a person, you're answering a calling. You're responding to an energy that transcends time, distance, and logic. And it's okay to still feel confused. You might wonder, are they thinking of me too? Am I imagining all of this? Is it possible to be too connected? The answer is layered, but one thing is true. Twin flame energy is real, and so is your experience. This video is an invitation to feel seen, to feel safe inside your own knowing. And maybe, just maybe, to stop fighting the thoughts and start listening to what they're trying to teach you. Take a deep breath, let your body relax, let your energy soften. You're exactly where you need to be. In the next section, we'll begin to explore what twin flame energy really is. Not just the poetic stuff we see online, but the actual energetic reality of why they feel so close, even when they're far away. Ready? Let's begin. So let's begin where most of us begin. At the moment we first feel it, that jolt, that recognition, that whisper in the soul that says, I know you, even if you've just met, even if nothing logical makes sense, even if your paths look like they never should have crossed, and yet, here you are, suddenly awakened to a presence that doesn't fade. It's not just romantic attraction, it's not infatuation, it's not even love in the conventional sense, it's energy, It's resonance. It's two frequencies calling out to one another across space and time, finally harmonizing again. Twin flame energy is not something you can fake or manufacture. It's not created by shared interests, compatible zodiac signs, or relationship goals. It's primordial. It's eternal. It's what happens when one soul essence that once expressed itself as a whole divides into two human experiences. You and your twin flame are not two halves. You are two complete mirrors of the same source, same core frequency, same divine template. And when your energies come into contact, whether in person, online, or even energetically from afar, something awakens. It's as if a slumbering part of your soul suddenly stretches and says, "Oh, it's you. I remember now." Every soul emits a vibrational signature, a kind of energetic song. When you meet your twin flame, you're hearing a song that matches yours so perfectly, it creates a resonance. And like tuning forks vibrating in sync, that resonance doesn't turn off easily. Why? Because energy doesn't need permission to exist. It simply is. And twin flame energy has its own momentum. A pull, a current, a tidal wave that doesn't always obey logic or time frames. This is why you can feel them even when they're not speaking to you. Why you dream about them without trying. Why a song on the radio or a random number on a receipt can send you spiraling into a wave of emotion that feels too big for just coincidence. It's because twin flame energy activates you. It pokes at every part of you that's asleep. It shines light on every unhealed wound. It invites you, sometimes gently, sometimes chaotically, into spiritual growth. One of the most important aspects of twin flame energy is the mirror. Your twin flame reflects your deepest desires, deepest wounds, and deepest potential. They hold up a cosmic mirror that shows you who you are beneath your ego, your trauma, your programming, and let's be honest, sometimes that's overwhelming, especially when you're not expecting it, especially when all you wanted was peace, not a spiritual boot camp. But the mirror isn't here to punish you, it's here to wake you up. Every time they enter your thoughts, every time you feel them without reason, you're being pulled into an opportunity to heal. Not just romantic longing, not just daydreams, but real inner alchemy. This is why it's not just about them, it's about you, how you respond, what you feel, what your soul is asking of you in that moment. Twin flame energy lingers because it's alive. It's not a memory. It's not nostalgia. It's a real-time frequency that weaves in and out of your aura, your thoughts, your emotional body. Think of it like this. When you light a candle, even after you blow it out, the scent lingers in the air. Twin flame energy is like that. Even when they're not physically present, their energetic essence still dances in your space, sometimes faintly, sometimes like a storm. And because your connection operates on the higher planes, emotional, mental, spiritual, it often bypasses logic entirely. This is why your twin flame can pop into your thoughts after weeks of silence. Why you can feel a sudden emotion that doesn't even belong to you. Why you can sense them reaching out, even when nothing happens in the 3D. Their energy never left, it just shifted form. Twin flame energy is not linear. It doesn't follow the rules of beginning, middle, and end. It's a spiral, a loop, a dance. Sometimes it's intense. Other times it quiets down, only to surge again during a full moon, an eclipse, or some random Tuesday when your soul decides you're ready for the next layer. And here's the sacred truth. Every time they come to mind, you're being invited to go inward, to explore what's being triggered, to sit with what's rising, not to force it away, not to drown in it, but to understand it. Because their energy shows you your own energy. Where are you still holding on? Where do you still feel abandoned, unseen, unworthy? These aren't just thoughts, they're portals, each one a doorway to deeper healing. You might be wondering, but if I'm growing so much, why does it still hurt? Why can't I just focus on myself without thinking of them every 5 minutes? That's what we'll explore in the next section. The psychic bond between you and your twin flame, and why their presence in your mind isn't just emotional, it's energetic, spiritual, and vibrational. But before we move on, just take a breath. Let all of this settle. You are not crazy for feeling what you feel. You are not obsessed. You are energetically attuned to someone who is part of your soul's architecture. And that is no small thing. Have you ever had a sudden thought of your twin flame completely uninvited, only to receive a message from them hours later, or woken from a vivid dream where you were together, only to feel their presence with you all day long? Or felt a wave of sadness, love, or longing that didn't seem to belong to you, but to them? This isn't imagination, it's not delusion, it's not overthinking. This is the psychic connection between twin flames, one of the most mysterious and sacred aspects of this journey. A bond that reaches far beyond the 5 senses. One that doesn't care about distance, logic, or whether either of you even understands what's happening. Because it's not about understanding with the mind, it's about feeling with the soul. At its simplest, a psychic connection is a form of communication that transcends words. It's energetic, it's emotional, it's spiritual. In the twin flame dynamic, this connection often expresses itself as telepathy, thoughts, phrases, or feelings that enter your mind seemingly out of nowhere. Dream sharing. Having dreams of them that feel more like visits than fantasies. Energetic pings. A sudden pressure in the chest, or the feeling of someone thinking about you. Emotional syncing. Feeling their sadness, excitement, or fear, as if it's your own. Unlike other soul connections, the twin flame psychic link is extremely sensitive. Because you are vibrating at a nearly identical frequency, it doesn't take much for one to feel what the other is going through, even subconsciously. This is why it can feel like your twin flame is in your head, because in many ways, they are. Or rather, their energy is. One of the most misunderstood parts of this experience is the assumption that you are the one initiating every thought. But twin flame connection is interactive, even if it's invisible. It may help to imagine it like a Wi-Fi signal. Both of you are routers tuned to the same private network. Sometimes you send the signal, sometimes they do. But either way, you're constantly connected, especially during high-energy moments, like emotional shifts, personal growth, or spiritual breakthroughs. So when you suddenly feel overwhelmed with memories or hear their name in your head, don't be so quick to label it as obsession. Sometimes you are simply receiving a pulse from them, not a message you need to act on, but one that's showing you the bond is still alive. Let's talk about the dreamscape, the mystical playground where the psychic link often feels strongest. Many twin flames report experiencing dreams that are hyper-realistic, repeating, emotionally intense, filled with symbols or places they've never consciously visited. Sometimes your twin flame speaks to you in these dreams, other times you're simply together, laughing, crying, reconnecting, but always these encounters feel more like reunions than dreams. Why? Because on the astral level your souls are always in contact. While your bodies sleep, your spirits roam freely. And when that soul bond is strong, they find each other. To comfort, to update, to heal. And sometimes these dreams are how your unconscious mind processes the intensity of the journey. They're not always literal, they're not predictions, but they are messages. The same goes for synchronicities, repeating numbers like 1111, seeing their name everywhere, hearing a song that mirrors your exact feelings. These aren't random, they're energetic reflections. And often they arrive at moments when the psychic connection is particularly active, when one or both of you are consciously or unconsciously reaching out. One of the most challenging and sacred parts of the psychic link is what's known as the emotional feedback loop. Here's how it works. You feel your twin flame thinking about you. It stirs emotion. That emotion generates energy. That energy feeds back into the connection, which stirs them, which stirs you again. And so the loop continues. It's not something either of you are doing on purpose, it's just the nature of shared soul frequency. But this loop can become overwhelming if you don't know how to ground yourself. Because what starts as a loving connection can spiral into mental noise, emotional overload, and spiritual fatigue. That's why awareness is key. You are not just thinking of them, you are engaging with their energy. And once you realize this, you can choose how to respond, with clarity, boundaries, and love. A lot of twin flames reach a point where they say, I can't do this anymore. They're in my head all the time. I need to cut the cord. But here's the truth that brings most people back to square one. You can't cut a cord that exists on the soul level. You can only learn to live with it, consciously, gently, wisely. Instead of cutting, what if you could contain the energy? What if you could say, yes, I feel you. Yes, I honor this bond, but I choose peace right now. I choose focus, I choose grounding, I choose my own center. That's what spiritual boundaries are. Not rejection, but redirection. Not denial, but discernment. You are allowed to say, this thought is real, but it's not helpful right now. I feel their sadness, but I don't have to carry it. Our souls are always connected, but I need rest. These choices don't break the bond. They mature it. They create room for both of you to grow, without drowning in each other's energy. Ultimately, the psychic link is not just about them, it's about you, what you feel, how you receive, what you believe about connection, intuition, and love. This link is a teacher. It shows you how intuitive you are, how empathic, how deeply attuned your soul has always been. And sometimes it's showing you, this is where I still need healing. This is where I still abandon myself. This is where I can reclaim my power, because as strong as the psychic connection may be, you are stronger, not to disconnect from it, but to live with it, wisely and consciously. In the next section, we'll explore what happens when this psychic connection creates the runner-chaser dynamic, and why the mind starts looping obsessively, even when your soul is trying to let go. It's not just you, it's not just thoughts, it's energy in motion. And soon, you'll see how to hold that energy in a way that feels lighter, softer, more manageable. You don't have to fight it, you just have to understand it. Let's keep going. You've tried to let go, you've tried to forget, you've tried to move on, but still, the energy lingers. Their name still stirs something in your chest. Their face still floats into your dreams. Their soul, somehow, still whispers to yours. So how do you heal when you still feel them? This is the paradox of the twin flame journey. Healing doesn't always mean detaching. Peace doesn't always mean forgetting. And letting go doesn't always mean walking away. It means learning to hold the connection without it holding you. One of the biggest misunderstandings about spiritual healing is the idea that to heal, we must erase. Erase the memory, erase the desire, erase the love. But twin flame healing isn't about erasure, it's about integration. You're not trying to cut them out of your soul. You're learning to carry their energy with grace instead of grief, with acceptance instead of ache, with reverence instead of resistance. Healing doesn't make the connection disappear, it simply stops it from controlling your every thought. Let's take a moment to ask something deeper. What is healing, really? It's not the absence of pain, it's not the absence of memory, it's the return to self. Healing is when you remember that you are whole, even without external validation. You are loved, even without their presence. You are free, even while still feeling the bond. In the twin flame journey, healing looks like laughing again, creating again, choosing peace, even when you still sense their energy, finding meaning in your own path, even if they're not walking beside you. This is what your soul has wanted all along, to remember who you are, not just who you are with them. Here's something radical, but true. You can love them and still walk away. You can honor the connection and still choose yourself. You can feel them in your soul and still live a full, joyful life without waiting. This doesn't mean the bond is gone. It means you've stopped making your healing conditional on union, because union is not the goal. Wholeness is. Your path may lead back to them, or it may lead somewhere entirely new, but either way, the path is sacred, and it's yours. So, how do we keep feeling the bond without letting it consume us? Here are a few gentle practices to help you hold the energy with love, not obsession. First, create sacred space for the energy. Instead of letting it invade your day, create intentional space. Light a candle, sit in stillness, say, I feel this connection. I welcome it for a moment. I release it with love. Then return to your life. This gives the energy somewhere to go, instead of letting it swirl endlessly. Second, talk to their higher self but with boundaries. Let your soul speak, but with clarity. I love you, I honor you, but I choose my healing now. You are always in my heart, but I am not waiting. This closes the loop without closing your heart. Third, transmute the energy into purpose. Use what you've learned, the intensity, the awakening, and turn it into service. Write, teach, share, help others. Let this pain become someone else's lantern. Because your journey isn't just about you, it's a mirror for others too. Let's talk about something that holds many people hostage on the twin flame path. Waiting. Waiting for a message, waiting for a sign, waiting for them to wake up, waiting for the perfect moment of union. But the truth is, waiting is just another form of self-abandonment. You are not here to pause your life for someone else's soul growth. You are here to live your life fully, regardless of whether they join you or not. Because sometimes, union is meant to happen in this lifetime. Sometimes it's not. And either way, you are still whole. You are still loved, you are still divine. Yes, sometimes when you stop chasing, they return. Not always, but often. Because your energy shifts, because you stop grasping, because you become magnetic instead of desperate. But even if they don't return, you'll realize that you no longer need them to. Because you have become everything you were searching for in them. The safety, the passion, the meaning, the soul spark. You've alchemized the energy, you've reclaimed the mirror, you've remembered who you really are. It's easy to forget when you're hurting that this connection was never a punishment. It was a gift. It tore you open, not to break you, but to let the light in. It showed you where you still feared love, so you could love more deeply. It showed you where you still abandoned yourself, so you could return home. It showed you the depths of divine union, so you could seek union within. The love you felt for them, it wasn't crazy, it was real, it was pure, it was sacred, and now, that love is your compass. You carry it forward, you build with it, you become it, not to prove anything, but because it's simply who you are. In the next section, we'll talk about the beautiful paradox of twin flame energy, how someone can live in your heart, even if they're no longer in your life, and how peace isn't the absence of feeling, it's the presence of acceptance. Because when the soul lets go, it doesn't forget, it simply learns to fly lighter. Let's keep walking. You've walked through the fire, you've faced the ache, you've let go again and again, and yet, they're still there, not in your arms, not in your life, but in your heart, always. You think of them when the world is quiet, you feel them when you close your eyes, you sense them in the silence between your breaths. And sometimes, you wonder, will this feeling ever leave? Am I supposed to carry them forever? Can I ever love again with them still here in my soul? This part of the journey is delicate, because it's no longer about wanting them back. It's about learning to live with a heart that still holds their name. It's about finding peace, not through forgetting, but through accepting that they are part of your inner sky now. There are loves that end quietly, they drift, they dissolve, they fade. And then there are the rare ones, the eternal ones, the ones that never quite leave. Not because you're stuck, not because you're broken, but because that soul left a mark on yours. A vibration, a signature, a resonance that time does not erase. And instead of trying to force it out, you are invited to ask, how can I live with this love inside me, and not let it break me? How can I hold them in my heart, and still open it to others? How can I honor what we were, without needing it to become something else? This is sacred inner work. This is the final unfolding. This is love, in its most mature, spiritual form. One of the great myths of human love is the idea that our hearts are linear, that we can only love one person at a time, that we must erase one soul to welcome another, that loving someone still means we're stuck in the past. But your heart is not a hallway. It's a cathedral, spacious, sacred, expansive beyond logic. And in that cathedral, your twin flame has a room, always. You don't have to burn that room down to move forward. You simply don't need to live in it anymore. You can still feel them, and also fall in love with someone new. You can still cherish the connection, and also grow beyond it. You can still talk to their soul, and still choose your future without them. Love is not a limitation. It's a landscape, and you are allowed to walk every inch of it, freely, consciously, and with grace. Over time, something beautiful happens. The ache softens, the intensity fades, the energy remains, but it's no longer a storm. It becomes a quiet light in the background of your soul, a part of your spiritual memory, a stillness that no longer pulls, but gently accompanies you. You'll find yourself smiling at the memory instead of grieving it, blessing them instead of yearning for them, thanking the connection for what it gave you, and letting it rest. Because the soul doesn't forget, but it does evolve. One of the most difficult spiritual lessons is this. You may never get the closure you thought you needed. No final conversation, no full explanation, no Hollywood reunion scene. But that doesn't mean you can't find peace. Peace doesn't come from what they say, it comes from what you choose to believe now. You can say, I may never understand why we parted, but I trust it was for both of our growth. I may still love them, but I no longer need them to return for me to be okay. I release the version of them I created in my mind. I accept the version that lives in my soul. This is emotional freedom. This is the soul releasing the contract, even as the love remains. If they still live in your heart, let that love become something. Let it bloom, write poetry, sing songs, plant trees. Build a life so vibrant it echoes with everything you once wished to share with them. Let the love become a living prayer, not just for them, but for you. You don't have to get over them, you just have to stop waiting to be made whole by their return. Because the truth is, you already are whole. Their love didn't complete you, it simply helped you remember. If their soul were here, sitting quietly beside you in a place where words didn't need to be spoken, what would you say? Maybe something like, you woke me up, you helped me meet myself. You weren't the destination, you were the key to the door. And I've walked through that door now, with gratitude, with grace. I will always hold space for the love, but I walk forward now, barefoot and brave, with my heart wide open to life. This part of the journey is so subtle, and so powerful. You don't have to forget. You don't have to pretend it didn't matter. You don't have to force indifference. You simply stop holding your breath. You stop checking the sky for signs. You stop measuring your life against the timeline of a reunion, and you begin to breathe again. This is when healing becomes embodied. This is when the obsession turns to presence. This is when the connection stops being a weight and becomes a wing. In the next and final section, we'll talk about where to go from here, because this journey, as winding, wild, and sacred as it is, has never just been about union with another. It's been about becoming who you were always meant to be. Let's bring this all together. This concludes part 7, They Still Live in Your Heart, how to find peace with that. You've walked through fire, you've swum through emotion, you've danced with the invisible thread of a soul-deep connection that changed your life. And now, you stand in the quiet after the storm, asking gently, where do I go from here? What's next? If union isn't guaranteed, what does this journey mean for the rest of my life? This is the moment where the twin flame path unfolds into something even deeper, something even more sacred. Because while it may have started with them, this journey was never just about the other soul. It's always been about you, your wholeness, your freedom, your awakening, and the path forward is yours to walk. There's a misconception that once the twin flame story is over, whether through union or separation, the journey ends. But that's not true. It simply transforms. The energy becomes lighter, the lessons become clearer, and the path shifts from being about finding them to finding yourself again and again. You are not leaving the journey. You are stepping into the next level of it, a level where you carry the lessons with grace, you love without clinging, you rise without waiting, you trust the divine timing of your own life. This is the embodiment of the twin flame path. This is when love becomes freedom. One of the most healing realizations you can come to is this. You don't need all the answers to live fully. You don't need to know if you'll reunite. You don't need to know why they ran. You don't need to solve the mystery of the past to create beauty in the present. Because some truths live in the soul, not the mind. Some answers arrive not as words but as peace. So if the path ahead feels foggy, that's okay. Walk anyway, trust anyway, create anyway. Clarity comes through living, not through waiting. It's time to step back into your life, to return to the version of you that existed before the longing, and to introduce them to the version of you that emerged after the fire. Let your life become rich with meaning again, not just about them but about you. Reclaim your passions. What did you love before the intensity took over? Dance, travel, learn, make art, feel joy for no reason, reclaim your purpose. What has this journey prepared you for? You've become more intuitive, more compassionate, more spiritually aware. How can you use those gifts to serve the world? Reclaim your peace. You don't have to be constantly healing. You're allowed to just be, to rest, to breathe, to live in this moment. No pressure, no weight, no timeline. This is your homecoming. And yes, there is always that question, lingering like incense smoke. What if they come back? The truth is, they might. And if they do, you'll be different. You won't meet them from a place of need, but from a place of wholeness. You won't be waiting at the shore. You'll be swimming in your own waters. And you'll know if it's aligned, it will flow. If it's not, you'll still be at peace. If it's meant, it won't require you to shrink, because you've already done the work. You've already returned to yourself, and nothing, not even the deepest love, can take you away from that now. You may not have received the storybook ending, but you received something far more rare. You touched unconditional love. You glimpsed the divine inside another soul, and inside yourself. You cracked open. You awakened. And yes, it was painful. Yes, it was confusing, but it was real. And nothing real is ever wasted. You didn't lose them. You simply grew beyond what the story could contain. The love, it's still here. Not as an obsession, but as a quiet truth. Not as a tether, but as a gentle light. You go forward, not away. You go inward, not backward. You go deeper, not darker. This is your path now, a path where love is not about possession, where connection is not about control, where the sacred is not about reunion, but remembrance. You were never meant to chase the flame, you were meant to become it, and now, you are. If you could look back at your former self, the one who first met their twin flame, what would you say? Maybe you'd whisper, "This is going to change you. It's going to crack you open in ways you never imagined. It's going to hurt. And then, it's going to heal you. Not through answers, not through reunion, but through you becoming the version of yourself your soul has always been calling toward." You would take their hand and say, "We make it, we come home, we fall in love. With ourselves, with life, with the divine, all over again, and it's beautiful." So, where do you go from here? You go wherever your soul calls you. You go with the lessons, the love, the clarity. You go with an open heart, knowing that you've already lived through something eternal, and you are stronger, softer, wiser for it. You go not to forget, but to remember who you are now, and that is everything. End of part 8. Where do I go from here? So, here we are, the end of this part of the path, and perhaps the beginning of something even more beautiful. You've walked through every question. You've sat with every silence. You've wrestled with every longing, every sign, every invisible thread pulling you towards someone who may not even fully understand why you feel the way you do. But through it all, one truth remains. Your twin flame never truly left you, not in soul, not in spirit, not in the place where love transcends form and time. They were never just another person, they were a mirror, a catalyst, a divine echo of your own soul. And in seeing them, you began to truly see yourself. It's not obsession, it's not weakness, it's not some cosmic mistake, it's energy, real, spiritual, soul-bonded energy, the kind that's ancient, sacred, and often completely misunderstood. They don't leave your head because they live in your field, your frequency. You shared lifetimes, you've traveled across dimensions of time together, and the moment you met in this life, the connection reignited. That intensity you felt, that inability to let go, it was your soul recognizing home. It was the divine knocking on your heart asking you to awaken, not for them, but for you. For those who have been wondering, yes, reunion is real, union can happen. In fact, many twin flame journeys do lead to full three-dimensional reunion, where both souls come together, not in chaos but in calm, not in fear but in clarity, not in longing but in love with maturity. But here's what you may not hear often, this usually doesn't happen overnight. The average time it takes for twin flame reunion from the first awakening to true stable union is typically around 3.5 to 4 years. Why? Because both of you must go through immense spiritual growth. You must release karma, heal egoic patterns, detach from old conditioning, awaken to unconditional love within yourselves. This process isn't punishment, it's preparation. When reunion finally happens, it is not chaotic, it's peaceful, it's soft. It feels like coming home, not like chasing a ghost, and even if physical union never arrives, the inner reunion already has. At first it felt like it was about them, getting them back, fixing the connection, understanding the signs, but now, it was always about you, learning to love without attachment, healing your inner child and your past wounding, discovering your soul's mission, awakening your divine essence. Your twin flame helped light the fire, but you are the one who had to walk through it, and now you emerge not broken, but reborn. If you still feel them in your heart, let that be okay. It doesn't mean you're stuck, it means you loved deeply. If you're still healing, go gently. This isn't a race, this is a rebirth. And if you've come to a place of peace, even better. Let that peace guide your next steps. Start creating, start loving again, start living for you. Because the point of this journey was never just about finding your other half. It was about remembering. You were never half to begin with. So, wherever you are on this journey, whether you're just beginning, Whether you've been walking this path for years, whether you're in union or deep in the surrender phase, know this: you are not alone. Your journey is valid, and the love you carry is not only real, it's sacred. You are part of a greater wave, a soul mission that is transforming this world from fear to love, from separation to unity. And your heart, full of longing, full of truth, full of fire, is part of that transformation. So take a breath, place your hand over your heart, and whisper to yourself, I release what no longer serves. I bless what has been. I welcome what is coming. With grace, with trust, and with open hands. You are loved, you are whole, you are free, and the journey ahead is bright.